Yo, what up, what up, what up, friends?
Rest in power to the man of steel, Rickey Henderson, who died this past weekend at the age of 65. The Hall of Famer holds the all-time stolen base record with 1,406 stolen bases. Many consider him to be the greatest leadoff hitter in baseball history. I certainly do. I am definitely in that camp. I am a huge Rickey Henderson fan. From the style to the, his eccentric ways. He ran with a Cuban link chain on. He spoke in third person. Just tremendous. 10-time All-Star, first ballot Hall of Famer back in 2009. One of the first players that I love because my favorite player of all time is Jose Fonseca. Shout out Jose. We need to get together on some marketing stuff, by the way. Hit me up. So Jose Fonseca was part of the Bash Brothers, who were on the late 80s Oakland A's team that Rickey Henderson was on as well when they won that title back in 1989. So sincere rest in power to the man of steel, Rickey Henderson. Moving on, Alexander Usyk. Shout out to our combat sports and boxing insider, Clubber D, the Combat G. Got it right as usual. He predicted an Alexander Usyk decision victory over Tyson Fury for the WBO, WBA, WBC World Heavyweight Boxing Championships, and he hit it right on the head. Alexander Usyk did win. Unanimous decision this time around, 116-112 on all three scorecards. So unanimous decision, not a split decision like last time, even though Fury and his camp say that they want to dispute the cards. It was pretty much right across the board. All the judges, well, wasn't pretty much, it was all across the board. All the judges had it the same. And shout out to the Penn State women's volleyball team. They won the program's 8th national title yesterday, beating Louisville. But this means a lot more when I'll get into here in a second why. But first of all, let's start with an amazing game they had against the Nebraska women. So as you know, Nebraska women volleyball, huge, right? They're the ones selling out the stadiums, having the midnight volleyball and all that stuff. What an amazing game. Nebraska goes up 2-0. I watched the whole thing. I couldn't take my eyes on it. I was transfixed. What a great word by a Puerto Rican on a live TV show. Shout out my brother Conan. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Orale, arriba la raza. Anyways, first of all, amazing comeback. They were down 2-0 in the set. They won 3 games in a row, which is called the reverse draw. And so they came back, reverse sweep, which is very rarely done in volleyball. But you do remember volleyball is a best 3 out of 5 series in college. So the coach, Katie Schumacher-Cawley, is the first woman, which is incredible. I can't believe that this is true, but she's the first woman to coach a D1 team to a title in women's volleyball. So that's just crazy. But she's also a former Penn State player and helped them win their first title all the way back in 1999. But as well, not only did she coach this team to a 35-2 record, but salute to her. She has been undergoing chemotherapy for breast cancer. Our prayers go out to you, Katie Schumacher-Cawley. Hopefully you get that eradicated as quickly as possible and get back to full health. But she's a G. She's a OG because she ain't never missed one practice all year long. So prayers up to her and salute to the Penn State women's volleyball team. Moving on. Other news in the women's world of sports. The highest paid female athlete list came out just last week. Your top 3 female athletes. Number 1 is Coco Gauff, who had a total between salary, her winnings from tournaments and endorsements, $30.5 million. In skiing, at number 2, Eileen Gu, who came with $22.1 million. And then from the tennis world, Iga Swiatek, who came out with $21.5 million. So those are your top three highest paid female women athletes of 2024. You're probably asking, where is Naomi Osaka? She is at number 6, $16 million. You may say, where is our girl Simone Biles? She is at number 9, $11 million, and she is tied with Caitlin Clark. So that would have been the other person you probably asked about. They are all there in the top 10. I would have thought as well, though, that Caitlin Clark would have at least been a little higher, considering the popularity that she both her and Biles, because the Olympics was this year too. So yeah, I just damn, Olympics seemed like 2 years ago, and it's only this summer. Wow, I'm live, crazy. Anyways, so that's your highest paid female athletes of 2024. Now, moving on, before we get into our power rankings, a couple other news and notes here. Earlier, we talked about the FIFA Women's Cup being streamed by Netflix. Well, the FIFA has named that Saudi Arabia will be the World Cup host for 2034, which then goes into the bigger picture of sports washing and all these other conversations you get because of their human rights record and all these other things. Well, as y'all know, as I said earlier about the capitalist society, in this world, money talks. And that's about all I have to say. So that will explain to you why they have now they will now host the World Cup in 2034. In 2030, just to update you, it will be hosted by 6 countries together. So you can see the juxtaposition there, huh? Money, 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 money. Money, got that oil money, baby. Oh, anyways, in 2030, it will be hosted by Morocco, Portugal, Spain, and then there will be big centennial matches for the centennial celebration in Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. So that will be your World Cup host of 2030. NBA All-Star Game, we got some changes. They're trying to spruce it up since the NBA All-Star Game has gotten boring and no one watched it anymore because it was just a glorified pickup game of a bunch of dunks and threes. They are now going to try to switch it around. They are going to do a round-robin tournament-style formula with 4 different teams consisting of 3 All-Star teams from the 24 NBA All-Stars, which will be split up into 3 8-man teams, and then a Rising Stars team, which will comprise the 4th team. They will compete for money. So they're hoping that money will motivate them to play harder in this game to make it more of a television viewing event. The teams will compete for $1.8 million, which the championship team winning $125K, and the second place team, each person winning $50K. The third and fourth place teams will get a cool $25,000 a piece. So we'll see if that inspires more motivation to watch the game. I know for one, I'll flick it on, watch a little bit here and there. I might switch back and forth to whatever else I'm watching, but I definitely have not watched a whole All-Star game in forever. But I remember when it was great. I remember back in like the 80s and 90s when you had Magic and Bird and MJ, and just like the games were so good and everybody actually gave a shit and tried. And so hopefully they'll get, I don't know that this is going to get all the way back to that, but hopefully it brings some semblance of competition and passion back to what should be a mainstream event, and it's not. So shout out my boy Sir Genius and the rest of my my Squad Mob Vets crew, Diaz, Moore, Mount. Oh yeah, I went out to the 2003 All-Star game in Denver. I went to go visit my boy Sir Genius. It is the hip hop that binds us. He was stationed out there in Air Force at Buckley, and I wanted to visit him. And I remember it was great. It was great because this was in Gilbert Arenas, was dope, and was playing for the Wizards, right? And we got tickets right next to the entrance where all the All-Stars came out at. So while the All-Stars were coming out, they had this little ball. I still have the ball. It's in my house in Nashville. I still have it. It's in my living room. Is a blue basketball mini ball, and it had All-Star Game on it, whatever. And so each All-Star had their own that they came out and they throw out to the fans. Well, when Gilbert came out, I was like, "Yo, Gilbert, DMV baby, we here, DC." And he saw me, and he saw me in uniform because we were in uniform at the time because we were all in active duty. And he threw me the ball. So what an amazing memory.
Holla,